press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, welcome back to your social science class. Today we are going to continue the chapter types of society. Okay, we stopped at the zamindari system, okay, in page 159. Today we will continue the other systems that are there and then further move on to the urban society as well as the industrial societies if time permits. Alright. So, we studied the Jajmani system, we studied the Zamindari system in the lesson types of society. So, a few more things to deal with and then we wind up this lesson. So, today we will study what is called as the Rayatwari system. Okay. Then Mahalwari, okay, then tenancy, okay, tenancy system. Yeah, that's the those are the three things that we will have to discuss in the systems, and then we will further move into the urban society. So, we will go into the first one, that is Rayatwari system. Now, while the British was luring us, they made certain rules and regulations in order to collect taxes. Okay? Taxes from whom? From all the people as well as the farmers in India, because our major occupation was such, and then people continue to do into farming, so taxes on farming and other things were laid down. Now, when the British government said that the farmers will also be taxed, not only the landlords but also the farmers will be taxed, the zamindars who were there, that was who were holding the lands, these people who were there, they tried to take more from the farmers. See, it was like this. The farmers pay to the landlords and the landlords pay to the government. So, here the landlords had an opportunity to take more from the farmers, so loot the farmers in a way. And even if the farmers couldn't pay, then they would harass them. Okay? Harass them and ask for more money or set even a certain target. Now, they were allowed to take a certain amount of money, extra money also if they needed, and they will have to pay a certain amount to the government, the rest they could keep it from themselves. So, that is how these zamindars, they went on to exploit a lot of farmers and asking them a lot of money even when crops were not profitable for them. Now, when all of this was happening, when zamindars were looting people like this, harassing the farmers like that, exploitation was happening, the board of directors, okay, court of directors, they wanted to stop the farmers from this kind of exploitation that was happening, and the court of directors who were there, they introduced this Rayatwari system in 1807, okay. That is new ways of taxing the farmers, not through the zamindars, but another way of taxing the farmers was Rayatwari system. Basically a tax system that was there separately done for the farmers, so that the zamindars don't harass them and exploit the farmers in their way. Rather, the government will take a certain amount of money from the farmers. Then is Mahalwari system. When zamindari system and the Rayatwari system didn't give them any success or didn't give them any result, then the British thought of bringing the Mahalwari system. Now, under this, I'll split the word here, Mahal, okay, Mahal. Now, under this, when the British understood that the Rayatwari and the Zamindari system is not going to give them any result, they brought out this Mahalwari system, where whatever produce you do or whatever profit you get, yield you get from the estate that you have. Now, you have a big land, or from the mahal that you get, from the mahal is like a palace, okay. And they were owners of these mahals, that is owners of these great and big houses that were there. So in order to get taxes from them, what did the government do? The British government did that time was, whatever yield was happening in there, or whatever was produced was happening in their estate or mahal, tax was fixed to the owners of the mahal. Now the owner had to pay a certain amount of tax. Now for example, if it is 5,000 the owner has to pay, okay, whereas the rest of the things will happen inside. Now there should be some people to look after it, isn't it? That is why few of the owners of these mahals were given the responsibility to collect taxes and to look after things, that is supervise things and collect the taxes that are there. Few of the owners of the mahals were given this responsibility of collecting taxes and supervising it. That is Mahalwari system. Next is tenancy system, okay. Who was a tenant? Now there is a farmer, there was a landlord, and there is a farmer. The farmer who has the right to till the land or make his produce in the land was called as a tenant, okay. He was called as a tenant. Who was that? The farmer who used to till on that land was called as a tenant, owned by somebody else. Now there were two types of tenants in this, temporary tenant and permanent tenant. Permanent tenant and temporary. Okay, permanent tenant and temporary tenant. Now permanent tenant had one piece of land under their name where they used to till the land, that they used to grow their produce. Now temporary tenants didn't have any rights over any land that was there, okay. Now they were given lands. Permanent tenants had a certain land where they used to grow their crops, whereas temporary tenants didn't have a land like that, but wherever they were called and to do their work, they had to go. Okay, so the temporary tenants had no land anywhere, or they didn't have any rights over any land anywhere. Now if there was a temporary tenant and he was working on the land, if the landlord feels that he has to take away the land from that person, the landlord could take away that person from the temporary tenant and give it to anybody else as they wish to give. Alright, then now to prevent all this, that is exploitation of the temporary tenants as well, because they were just taking the land like that and giving it to anybody else, because the temporary tenants didn't have any hold over that kind of land. So permanent at least had some land that they used to grow their crops on, they used to till on, but the temporary tenants didn't have. So what they used to do there, the landlords as and when they wished, if they would like to give the land to somebody else, they would have just taken it and given it. Now this kind of exploitation was also happening, and the government there, okay, brought in something called as Tenancy Prevention Acts. Okay, Tenancy Prevention Act. This was brought by the government. Now this was also called as the land reforms. Okay, it was also called as the land reforms. Now, how much land has to be owned? The limit was put under this act, that how much maximum amount of land that the person has to own was put under these land reforms, also called, also another way of saying it is Tenancy Prevention Act. So here we finish the different systems and the structure of the agricultural society. Now we are going back into where we stopped at the types of society. So we studied hunting and gathering, then pastoral society, agricultural and rural society, and in agricultural and rural society, these are the following things that we discussed. So now we are going to the next one, that is the urban society, and then we'll move on to industrial and information society also. Okay, moving on to the urban society. What's urban? Cities. Okay, rural and urban. Now, urban societies were also called as ideal societies, where people wanted to be in that place. But their structure was not as simple as the rural areas. Their structure was complex. That is difficult to understand. Now, people in the rural areas or people everywhere, they moved on to the urban cities for jobs, okay, maybe to stay there. Okay, so population in the urban areas is more compared to what's there in the rural areas, all right. Now, problems like overcrowding of population, or that's overpopulation that is there, lack of space, okay, pollution that's happening, all these are factors that are affecting the urban areas even now. Okay, much greater impact has been done in the urban areas than the rural areas. But people like it when you are in the urban areas, because everything is easily accessible, all right. Now, in the modern society, urban areas are also growing, though very strict and constrained place that is there, okay. Urban society has become like a modern society that is there. Now, we have different kinds of civilizations that have improved from a very long time, okay. The Sindhu civilization also improved the urban life that was there after Mesopotamia and the Egypt civilization that was there. Then urban centers were there at Harappan civilization, Mohenjo-daro, okay, Kalibangan, all these places that were focusing on the urban society. Now, urban society and the civilized life, they somewhere complement each other, okay, and that's how civilization comes out. Next is the industrial society. Industrial society began with the growth of industries, okay, where people also started to use scientific techniques, scientific methods. People landed in a lot of jobs there with industrialization, okay. And production was done, a lot of production with scientific methods, and people were using the resources that they had. Now, industrial society, most of the population focuses on the industrial sector for their sustenance or survival. And for dependency on agriculture has been reducing now, because people are moving into the corporate world, people are moving into the industrial sectors, and that's how business has been taking a lot of growth in the urban areas. So, In the industrial society, the production is all automatic or automated, that is through artificial intelligence or whatever, that's the recent thing that we have come up with. So production is always in large quantity. Earlier it was like manual labor that had to be done. Now machines have come and machines are doing everything that a man can't possibly do in 5 days. It can do it in 1 hour or whatever it is. Okay. So our division of labor also has to happen. People sometimes lose jobs because of the machines and the machinery that comes in. Okay. So industrial revolution happened, and then the production happened a lot in the European societies that were there. So with this production in the European societies, a lot of mechanized world, that is a lot of machinery that has to be used came into being. They started electricity, steam energy, okay, all this was started, and the textile industry also started to use machines that were there, which earlier people used to sit and weave everything. Now machines can do it, then you need not sit and stitch everything that's there. Even with your clothing, if there is an embroidery, there are machines which do it now. No need to sit and for so long and long hours or long days and do it, alright. So everything has become very easy because of the machinery that has come, and then it has reached a stage where anything is possible at any time. Okay, you can just finish off any work at any point of time. Now there are certain features that are laid down for you regarding the industrial society. We'll just look onto it also. First one is industry based economy. Now in this society we have industry based is divided into three there: capitalist, labor class and the business class. Now people who are into business, people who are working, people who are giving them jobs, so different classes that are there. Then next is professional works, that is most of our work is professional by nature. So we are qualified in a certain aspect, and then it is going forward because we have certain trainings and skills for those professional works that have to be done. So everybody is having a professional course which they have to be mastered in. Then transport and communication also expanded with the growth of the industries, because a lot of production was happening and people had to transport, export and import their goods from one place to another. Okay, they used to export the finished goods that are there. Raw materials were also transported from one place to another, and then the production was happening and the finished goods were also sent to the other place. Then is increase in migration, that is people who had been surviving on agricultural basis. When the industries began to flourish, here agriculture also lost its way because people were starting to move on to jobs that were in the industries, and then agriculture lost its value there. So we affected our traditional ways of doing things, because what a man could do in 4 or 5 days, the machine could do it in 1 day or something like that, depending on what kind of a machine it is. So all this because of people moving and migration that was happening. Joint families that were there turned out to be nuclear families, because people moved in, moved out of their rural areas and settled in the urban areas. So nuclear families were becoming smaller as ever, and that's how it had affected people into migrating from one place to another, that is moving from one place to another and settling in another place. Now industrial societies, they want people who are qualified for a certain kind of job, because if you don't know how to use it, and if anything happens, how you don't know how to handle it, then your knack of doing it will go away. So you will have to equip yourself with certain skills and train yourself with certain things so that you are ready and prepared for the situation that you are going to handle. So they believed in having people who are professionals so that they can master it. So these are the features of the urban societies. First is industry based economy. Our economy, a lot of the money that is being circulated is from the industrial sector. Then professional works, people are trained into certain things. Okay, people are trained into certain aspects. They are trying to be getting professionals to do it. transparent communication. People needed to produce their goods, they wanted raw materials, they wanted to send the finished goods to some other places, so transparent communication was very important at that aspect. Then increase in migration. People moved on from rural areas to the urban areas, and families also started to become nuclear families than the joint families that were there. And when people started to move in and around, families were getting small, and everybody started into working and learning things that were different from what was happening in the rural areas. So that was features of urban society. So the last and the final topic in this lesson is information society that is there. Now, if there was something to happen and if we have no information about it, we lack that knowledge, isn't it? There should be someone to communicate with us regarding certain things that are happening. So information in a way, and information technology, communication is always important. Now, we have a lot of challenges that will be put forth before us. We will have a lot of situations that we will have to deal with, and then with this the information society developed, where they also tried to get into the educational sector and also do commerce and business, which was needed for the future. That was in a way where information technology entered into education, and in training certain students like that, training certain people like that, it also entered into the world of business and commerce. Now, there were a lot of theories, there were a lot of studies that were being done on these information societies, how we shouldn't be using technology, or how we should be using technology, and they focused on two issues that were there, that is how we'll have to keep hold of our economy. Another one, the first one being how information technology will affect our socio-economic life. That is how we live, and our system, our money system, that is there. How information technology would it bring us to a better level, or would it make it worse for us? So we would have to think on the issue like this, whether information technology would make it better for us or make it worse for us. Then second issue was whether information itself became a commodity, that is a product, whether information technology is of a greater use or it is not a greater use, or it's just remained as any product that is there anywhere. Okay, so whatever we had to acquire through the knowledge that we had, and people, if they had to get into this, they had to have knowledge of how you must do this, how you must produce it, and what is your final product, how much of productivity do you have. So information and information technology has been a part of everybody's lives. So it is not owned by a single person, or it is not taken like a property of anybody. So easily people have information everywhere. Technology is in and around us. It is easily visible to us. It's easily accessible to us. So we have different kinds of tools now in order to exchange our information, get information, gather people. It is easily done, and with that computers also started to become very important aspects of storage hubs. If you have seen the old computer that is there, it's very huge, it required a lot of space. But the computers now, screens are very flat and it's easy, you can keep it there. So that's how we learned how we'll have to write emails, we learned how we'll have to use our phones. So now everything is in your pocket, everything is easily accessible through your phones. Anything that you would like to do on the computers earlier, you can do it on your phone itself. So technology has been improving, and our information society has been improving, and it has reached to a stage where we are using artificial intelligence also, and things are getting better on one side, things are also making it worse for certain people, because most of the people are losing their jobs in these things, because what a man could do, the machines are doing it. Now, when the machines are doing it now, the man is no more required there. So, manual labor is very less, and you just need someone or the other just to supervise what's going to happen, and it'll work or function on its own. So, this is where we stop the lesson or wind up the lesson, types of society. Okay, read the lesson that is there. It's an easy lesson. Sociology is always easy because it's general, it talks in general terms. Read the lesson, underline what's important for you, and then look on to the questions that are there, and then you'll know what is more important than the other. Okay, thank you very much for listening.